wanna sit in again with you, baby, tonight. I don't wanna love, I don't wanna fight. I don't wanna have to tell you all the things I know. I don't wanna stay, but I don't wanna go. I don't wanna be the lover in your arms. I don't wanna be one to keep you from home. I don't wanna be the crooked person in your heart. I don't wanna start, but I don't wanna start. Part-time, my lover, how we suffer now. And I don't wanna waste no more of your precious time. I don't wanna say that everything will be fine. I don't wanna feel your tears on my skin. I'm a coward, baby, don't let me in. Part-time, my lover, how we suffer now. So I don't wanna sit in again with you, baby, tonight. I don't wanna love, I don't wanna fight. I don't wanna have to tell you all the things I know. I don't wanna stay, but I don't wanna go. I am a poor wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world of war. There is no sickness, toil nor danger in that bright land to which I go. I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going to see my brother. He said he'd meet me when I come.
Good day, this is Thumbs United. I am streaming photography for Photations. We're going to start off working with some medium format film, and this is from the next collection subject, which is Mexico. So if you hold on one second, I'm going to start the music. And we'll get into it. As you can see, these are unedited. These are just the scans of the scans of the medium format film. So I'm just going to go through and select the best ones, and after that we're gonna fix these images. There was a couple of problems with the film development of these images. Usually they're still hazy when I scan them in, so it will be difficult to see for this process. But I had problems with not the scanner, but actually developing the photos. It turned out some of the chemicals that I use for the developmental process, they were either not mixed properly or they were too old. And when you're developing, you have to mix the chemicals with water and other things at the right temperature. And so it turned out that it wasn't. And so when I went to go develop my film, and that's somebody else's job to make the chemistry, as my teacher used to say, for the film, I just develop it. And so they didn't come out quite right. They weren't shot, overexposed, but they came out like they did. So that's kind of a bummer, but I'm able to fix it, both with the enlarger when printing actual photographs from the darkroom, and I can fix it digitally. And so right here there's 111 photos. There were a few others, but they contained people, and I don't publicize people. And it's hard to see, but these are the pyramids of Izapa. And they're smaller pyramids. They're easy to walk up. These photos are Teotihuacan, and it's very difficult to get to the top of these pyramids. They are very high, and they were built so that people can't climb up easily. Like today, when people make steps, they're made so that you can just go up the steps upright. But Teotihuacan was built so that the steps were so large and uncomfortable that you had to really you have to climb the whole thing on essentially your hands and feet in order to get over the step. So it was made to be really uncomfortable, and like today, over time people have been growing taller and taller every year. The average goes up, but so back then humans were even shorter, but it's still really difficult, even though the human race has grown taller, it's still difficult to climb. And then you're at a higher altitude. So I got to the top and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm gonna die. I mean, you can just feel your heart pounding as hard as it can. So out of that 111 photos, there's 31 good ones, which isn't that bad, because a lot of them were duplicates. So now we're going to get into editing them. And so this is medium format film. Medium format means the size of the film is double the size of 35 millimeter. So it's a bigger camera, bigger. If it was digital, it would have a bigger digital sensor, and so that changes the depth of field. It makes it it has a shallower depth of field than 35 millimeter, and the quality of the depth of field is better. And then there's a wider range, and even in black and white there's a wider range of lights and darks. And you can hear my computer's taking off. It thinks it's an airplane. And that's mainly because these are 70 megapixels, and they're 70 megapixel uncompressed images. And so that's really hard to process. Just increasing the blacks to the max. Gonna make it a little brighter. And as you can see, that because it's uncompressed and 70 megapixels, there's a lot of wiggle room for me to edit these photos. And this one's at Teotihuacan, and again from the top of the pyramid. And this is a smaller pyramid I'm on top of, but this mountain back here, it actually lines up with the other pyramids. So it's really cool that they were able to build that. Build a exact replica, essentially, of the mountain. And going back to the other photo, I'm not sure I liked it. Yeah, it's not enough contrast. So we're going to go through and we're going to do this. And then we're going to kind of fill it in a little bit. And that looks better. But you can see all the dust and everything. So that's what we're going to be doing for the next couple of months, is the film restoration of removing dust and other things from the film. Some of it's from the scanner, and some of it's stuck on the film. This one's being kind of a problem child. And these ones they're more fun to edit. They require more attention than dealing with the digital photographs. And if you saw the stream last time, I did around 300 photos. Was it 300? No, it was 200. It was 300, I think. I did those in 2 hours. Did that in 2 hours. So this is going to take more time, even though there's only 30 of them. Yeah, each one is really unique. Unique to edit. They all need slightly different settings, so it is a little hard to find them, which is what I like. We're just gonna bring up the contrast. And like you can see the level of detail, like you can see all the stuff that's super far away. And I scanned it at 70 megapixels, but that's just because due to the limitations of the computer, not so much the scanner. I scanned 3 photos at a time. If you remember getting 35mm film developed, and they cut the whole roll into strips of like 5 photos. But with medium format, you cut it into strips of 3 photos. So I would scan an entire strip of photos all at once. And so the maximum file size I could do was something funny. It was like 210 megapixels. But then once you crop out each photo, then it's around 70. And so, I mean, yeah, it was the computer's fault, but scanning anything in uncompressed, like 200 megapixels is a lot for the computer to handle. And part of the problem when I was scanning was I would constantly be running out of hard drive space. Like the hard drive wasn't empty that I started working on, but each file was like 2 or 3 gigs, and that's of the film strip scan. going back and we're gonna crop out the frame of the film. I always suggest the curves first, but I have to remember not to do that. There, I do it again. Keep editing. I woke up today, and I was still kind of anxious about about this last class I'm doing, the last programming class. And when I woke up, I had 3 more quizzes to take, and I just couldn't get it off my mind. It wasn't that I woke up; it was that I had just woke up kind of abruptly, and so I spent an hour trying to go back to sleep, but I couldn't, and so I ended up getting up and did the usual, make the coffee and everything. Then I went and took the 3 quizzes that was so on my mind that I couldn't sleep. And what sucks is each quiz is only 5 questions. So you get one wrong, and you're at 80%. And so for each of them, I got 1 wrong. So for the last 3 quizzes, I got 80%, which is fine, because the quizzes are only worth like 10 points each. The homework is worth 50 points each. So the quizzes don't really matter that much towards the end grade. I mean, they matter as a whole. But so I'm happy with that. And then I started working on the final project. I emailed the instructor my plans for the final project, but I haven't heard back from him yet. So I started it, and it's going well. I finished the entire design, and yeah, so now I just have to program it. So it turns out I'm not going to have time tomorrow to do programming, so I'm going to do the majority of programming Sunday, and then I have to check the calendar. But I mean, it's fine. I have 5 days to complete the program. That's only going to take a half day of programming, and then the other half of the day I just spend tuning up everything. I did not like those curves. So pretty soon I'm going to be completely done with that class. And that's going to be a good day. I keep pushing the wrong keys. My muscles have gotten used to pasting a bunch of settings from the last couple of creative streams I've been doing. And then here's on top of Teotihuacan again. And it was a hazy day, so that's why that image needs so much more help. Like, I can already tell this is going to be a difficult image to edit, because there is so much kind of, well, dirt. And again, this is only the first part of editing these photos. The second part is gonna be just like the editing the Italy collection. And I'm gonna be going through each one and what is the word? Retouching them. And so yeah, after designing the final project, I pretty much chilled out for a little while. I got a lot done today, but did some chores, cleaning the house and all that stuff, but most of my work was done before 3. And then for what we're doing next after this stream, not the stream, but after this project, after I get to the end, I have a few left. We're gonna switch over to the New York project, and then yeah, I was talking during the last creative stream about the New York project, about having a whole bunch of photos of driving through Manhattan and Brooklyn, and I was like, I didn't see them anywhere in the process. So I went hunting through the hard drives and I found them. It was pretty easy. I guess I overlooked where I had stored them. So they're on kind of the production hard drive now, and they're already imported into Lightroom, and they're sorted by which ones are good. So there's 200 photos I'm gonna go and edit. And editing the digital photos. It's an action camera. It's a knockoff GoPro, and it goes much faster than this. To be honest, I've been streaming for almost 30 minutes. It might take like an hour to go through the 200. Oh yeah, this is terrible. I don't know how I'm gonna fix it. We're gonna get it to okay, I'm gonna move away from that kind of atrocity. And again, this was a really hazy photo, like in real life at the location. So part of what I'm doing is cutting down on the haze. That was there. And as you can see, the mountain and the pyramid almost perfectly line up. Do 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 do. So we're gonna have a lot of streams to do creative content. I don't have to worry about running out of material, because this is gonna take a while to fix with the retouching. And again, what happened with this photo is it looks like the chemicals weren't able to reach the bottom of it. So that was a problem. it might have been touching a different part of the film. When you're developing, you put it in this canister, and you have to wrap the film up, and you just slide it through the canister, and the canister has a spiral track, and the film, follows the track and spirals into the canister, and the canister is perforated so that the development chemicals can interact with the film. So it looks like that last photo at the bottom might have been like stuck to a different part of the roll of the film, so that it didn't actually get developed. We have one more. And then these photos that are in the mountains, these are the coffee plantations that were in Mexico. This is in Chiapas, Mexico. Chiapas. And yeah, they grow a lot of coffee there. There were several coffee plantations in the mountains, and yeah, it's right on the border of Mexico and I believe Guatemala, or it might be Honduras. I think it's Guatemala. So now we're going to go through. I'm going to take a short break, put on a slideshow for you guys, but I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and this next thing we're gonna do is gonna go pretty quickly. Right when I left, I dropped everything on the floor, so I was glad the The microphone didn't catch that. But we're going to be cropping. And so these frames are 1-to-1. I have to move closer. And this one we have to rotate a little bit. This is kind of a messed up image a little bit. That looks like the closest. So yeah, a lot of these images are going to take a lot of work to fix, but that's what I enjoy doing. And then this one, again, is going to need to be rotated. In terms of this stream, I'm hoping to stream a little longer than usual, but I do have a limit. I have to end about before 12:30, so I can only stream for. The total length was 3 hours. So I can go for like another hour and a half. I just want to make sure I was kept the ratio of 1-to-1. See, I knew I didn't do it for this one. And my computer is getting a little laggy, but that's because it has to load so much. There's a few crooked ones. No, it's still not right. That's better. And this one's straight at least. make sure this is. I keep forgetting every once in a while to do. To do the 1-to-1 ratio, and that's just, it forces the resize or the crop tool to only crop in a ratio of 1-to-1. And here we go. I have a lot of activities planned for tomorrow. I can't stream over the weekend. I will be streaming Monday, so that will be an extra day that I'm streaming. But I can't stream Sunday or Saturday, so I'll probably do a rerun of video game stuff and then creative for the weekend marathon. You thought it left, but it's coming back. It's my sister's turn to pick a movie, so we're gonna go to the movies and then we're gonna eat at this sushi place. And I'm vegetarian, don't eat fish. Well, we all are, but this sushi place has a lot of options for us. So we're over halfway done cropping, and it's just taking a little while because there's a little bit of lag. So I want to make sure I'm cropping everything correctly. So we're almost done. Almost done. And there's this terrible image. I have no idea how I'm going to fix it. This is definitely one we're going to want to see the before and after. I just had to make sure it's the right ratio. Sometimes I'm busy thinking in my head about the next thing, and I forget to do the current one correctly. Like this one. I'm talking about not doing it correctly, and then I do it incorrectly. I'm focusing on the wrong thing. I have to go back and double check that out. I already forgot. I've been doing weird things in the past couple of days. Like, I told you guys we don't have running water in the house. We have it in our garage, but not our house. The plumbers are working on our pipes. And so I have to fill up these containers. And then I bring the water over, and then I fill up the filter, and we filter the water. But I went to take the containers from the kitchen, they were empty ones, and I went to take them for to go to the garage to fill up the water. And so with the two containers in my hand, and they're large containers, I went to my cup at the table, and I grabbed my cup, and I was like, what am I doing? Because, like, there's no water, you know? So I was like, why am I grabbing my cup? And so I kind of had to, I chuckled a little bit, but I was 2 steps ahead. But I've been doing funny things like that. Like, I'll walk into a room, and, like, right at the doorway is what I need. But I'll walk, like, all the way into the room, and it's like, it's like I'm so focused on trying to get what I'm going for that I just overshoot it and go to the wrong place. So I'm getting a little more forgetful. Okay, just gonna double check these last few. Okay, so we're done with this project. So I'm gonna close it out. We're gonna start, probably Monday I'll start editing. We'll do the film restoration of going through and removing dust and everything. There's only 31 photos, but some of them need a lot of help, so that's going to take a while. So we're definitely going to be doing that July and probably into August. So I'm going to close down Lightroom, and then we're going to go to, I have to eject the hard drive, which Windows always has a problem with. Okay, hold on. I have a hot swappable bay with my desktop, and so I just buy, I don't even buy hard drives with cases or with like USB or anything. I just buy internal hard drives, and then I can swap them in and out of the computer. And then the hot swappable bay has a SATA connection direct into the motherboard, so it's like working off a hard drive at the kind of natively at the fastest it can connect. So I'm going to and Lightroom is loading. So here we go. And this is going to go by much faster. It took about 50 minutes to edit those 30 photos, to select and edit those photos. These ones are already selected as being good photos. I'm in the develop section. I'll show you the other section. But yeah, there are 10,600 photographs. And this is just from a camera mounted to the side of the car. And so I don't get to choose what it's taking photos of. I just put the timer on and drive, so it's set to like take a photo every 10 seconds. And we were driving for 11 hours, so it just runs till the battery ends. And then this is a GoPro knockoff called the YI, and it is a very good camera. I highly recommend it. And what's nice about it is what's nice about it is you can get the camera mounts. They're like the exact same camera mounts as the GoPro ones, but it's a different size camera, so they all fit the eye. But you can get like the entire kit of mounts, like the bicycle mount, the head mount, the shoulder mount, the suction cup mount, and you can get them all for like $30 for this camera. And then the battery for the camera, it was like $20, and you get a 3-pack. Oh no, it was a 2-pack and a 3-pack charger, but the camera comes with a battery and everything. And then it shoots 4K and does 2.7K at 30 frames per second. I mean, at 60 frames per second. And then it does HD and it can do HD at 120 frames a second. So those specs are very similar to the GoPro. And you can see what the problem is with this photo. And that's going to be a problem in all the photos. Is that this is the sun, and we're driving east to west. We're driving west to east. And so the sun throughout the trip is, and it's summer, it's winter time. So the sun it's lower in the sky, so it just goes across like that. So the whole journey to New York, and we're going from Michigan to New York, the sun is like directly in the camera's kind of field of view. And when it's not, it's usually just because we're on a turn or something. And I just like taking pictures of bridges, the occasional truck. these trucks being transported on a truck. Nice farm. This might take longer than I thought. We'll see. The camera, the eye, has a lot of the similar settings as the GoPro. GoPro has this mode called Pro Tune, and it's kind of like log with the Sony cameras and other cameras, where it allows you, and similar to RAW, and it records without setting the white balance, so it just records everything the sensor sees. So GoPro calls that Pro Tune, and it's a little bit more complicated because with Pro Tune and with log and with RAW, you have to edit them. You can't just shoot and export. They have to be color graded, but the amount that you can change the coloring and the shading and the curves is so much higher that you can produce a really great image. So you can see there's snow. I believe this is like the end of November. I'm going through Pennsylvania. We're going through Michigan, then Ohio, then Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. Then from New Jersey, you pretty much end up directly in New York City. And you can see it's a problem. The sun is like always there. It's gonna be with us the whole journey. And I've edited out a lot of the photos with the sun, but there's still a lot. Yeah, the whole trip there, the sun was kind of stuck in the camera's view, which is something to think about when you're setting up the GoPros and the action cameras to your car. If it was summertime, this wouldn't be a problem. The sun would be directly overhead. But because it's winter, it never makes the full arc in the sky. And so now, the day is over, and we're going to be driving into the city, which is what these next group of photos is. So now we're driving into Manhattan, I believe. I'm pretty sure it is. Going through the tolls. Now goodness, if you're ever doing road trips, especially through Jersey, Pennsylvania, or New York, you have to get the Easy Pass. One, they give you a discount for using the Easy Pass. And two, they're starting to get rid of the toll booths where you can pay people. And I don't know what they're going to set up instead. If you have to do coins or put cash in a machine. But Easy Pass, you just drive on through. You slow down a little bit. If you're driving like 50, you go down to like 40 and then pass through. So this is a different day. That last photo, this was the last photo driving into the city. And this over there, that is Manhattan. So we're on the bridge. But the camera battery died right then. So that was the last photo I took. And then now we're driving all through Manhattan. It's a different day. These ones are a little easier to edit because it's not nighttime yet. So it's gonna speed up. And I can just go back to only editing the curves. And what the curves do is it edits kind of the shading of the image. So instead of making the whole image bright or the whole image dark, what tones do is it makes certain sections of the image change color. Change tone. So if you, like down here at the bottom, you change the bottom half, it will change all the dark things. So if we move it up, it makes everything that's dark bright. But then as you can see up here, it's also making bright things even brighter. So then if we want to make the bright things darker, we can do that. Or we can make the darks really dark and do that. And it brings down the darkness, but you see the lights there kind of stay the same. And so that's different than just going through and doing that. Like it doesn't do that much, or brightening like that. So you have more control editing the curves. And it's more fun to do. And some people get crazy with the curves. Like here's a default medium contrast. You have like 4 points you can massage, but I like to keep it simple. And only do 1 to 2. Sometimes I'll do 3 points in the curve, but usually not. If I have to do 3 points in the curve, then I usually go up and I edit other settings like the recovery, fill light, or the blacks. And the blacks, what they do is they make the dark things even darker. So what is dark will become richer in darkness. But then when you combine that with fill light, it also increases the contrast, as you can see there, if I edit it like that. But I'm not doing that for these photos. If I'm shooting in RAW, then I have no problem working with these, but these are JPEG photos. So I want to keep the processing to kind of a minimum and only use the curves. And so now we are driving we were in Manhattan, the sun was setting over here, and we're leaving Manhattan and we're going to Long Island, which is still in New York. It's kind of the next island over. And so that was it. That was the last one of going into Long Island. And then these photos are in Long Island. And we're just going to be driving back. I believe we're going back into Manhattan for these next set of photographs. And part of the reason why I'm able to edit these so fast is I have some preset keystrokes. So I'm able to copy the settings from one image and then paste the settings. And then I edit it further from there. And the reason why I only paste some of the settings is because I need to fine tune like this point, even though I'm adding one point. It's going to be different for each photograph. So I need to know where to put it. And then this is the airport. And I think this is LaGuardia. I don't think it's JFK. So we're in New York now. I mean, in New York City. And I was talking about I had a homework assignment for art appreciation where I had to go and take pictures of graffiti art. And the teacher said, pick someplace unique, someplace no one's taken a lot of photographs from. So everyone went to like Detroit or they went to other places. And I was like, I'm going to take my graffiti art in New York. And yeah, it worked out well. I got extra credit. And essentially the teacher didn't want the students to upload images of the same thing. So mine were very original. I probably was the person who went the farthest to take the photos. And this was back when I took these photos. It was still this year. Well, it was technically last year, but it was November of 2017. And so during that semester, I only had 2 classes, and both classes were on the same day. And it was Tuesdays and Thursdays. So Friday morning at like 3 in the morning, we drove to New York and then spent Saturday and Sunday there for a performance by my sister. And then we came back Monday. And it takes 11 hours. And so this is the graffiti art I was talking about. So we do kind of longer drives. We drive for like, it's an 11-hour trip. So we just do it, all day long and into the night sometimes. My mom always gets mad at me. She's like, why are we taking a pit stop? And I was like, I have to go to the restroom. And then she always threatens, when I drive myself, I only do 2 pit stops, in 11 hours. I'm like, I can't hold it that long. And she's like, well, I'm gonna leave you behind so we don't have to do so many pit stops. And I just kind of chuckle. So yeah, these are going much faster. And here's more of the graffiti art. And so yeah, I was getting a little worried when I was like working on this project. I was like, do I have enough content for 30 episodes for this New York project? Because 30 is kind of like the goal. So now with these photographs, I definitely think I do. Because I was starting to get worried about, is it going to be like too repetitious? Some of the photos. Kind of the thing to worry about, not worry about, but like each episode, each format that's going to release for the new project. Like there's going to be the 2D, the VR, the 3D, and then the 3D VR. And they're all going to be kind of independent of each other. So I'm getting a little worried about the editing process. It's going to be a dense project to work on. Project Newfoundland, I believe, is 20 episodes. And 3 episodes of Project Newfoundland are public on YouTube and on Twitch. The 4th episode is on Patreon as early access, but then the 4th episode is coming to YouTube publicly July 1st. And hopefully I finish the programming class, and I will start production on live to tape and of Project Newfoundland again. So fingers crossed, July 1st to Patreon will be both live to tape episode 8 and episode 8 of Storytime, and then Project Newfoundland also on the 1st of July, episode 5. And both Project Newfoundland and Storytime, they were both filmed in 3D. So what happens is on YouTube, the 2D version is uploaded first, then the 3D, which is side by side, so you can play it in 3D monitors and TVs. And so if you have a 3D monitor or TV, you just play the video like you would play any other video on YouTube. But then once the video is playing, you have to go into your TV and with the remote just put it in 3D mode for side by side. And then based on whatever glasses you have, it will automatically display the video in 3D. And then the third week of the month, the VR version comes out, and there's no head tracking. So if you get nauseous from VR, there's none of that. It's like you're sitting when you're wearing the goggles, it's like you're sitting in the perfect seat for in a theater, and you can really see kind of there's like an increased almost quality feeling to it. Like even though you can see some of the pixels, it's different. It feels like a direct connection of the images into your brain. And but it's also, so it's set up for VR goggles to use with your smartphone, but it is still in 3D. So, and in my opinion, VR is the best way to view 3D videos. It's less setup, ironically, but and it's more accessible. I mean, almost everyone has a smartphone, so you just buy a VR headset, and they cost like $20 for a good one. A good one is only $20, and they have cheaper ones for like $18, and you can get some for $8. And like sometimes, you go into gas stations, some of the kind of bigger gas stations, they sell VR goggles for smartphones, and they were like $10. So they're inexpensive goggles you can get for VR. And it's something I'm really interested in continuing. I do a lot of experimental photography, and so for kind of the next projects, I am going to start working on VR with head tracking. So you look left and you see things to your left, you look right, you see things to your right. But for now, I'm just going to continue doing the fixed view VR, which is kind of like a movie theater simulation. So we're almost done with this, and I'm going to go through and what is the word? I'm going to crop the images. I'm going to crop the car out, the mirror. I believe this is in Pennsylvania. This was a pit stop. We went to some shopping center, and there's a Cordoba in there, so it was a longer pit stop. But it was funny because we went to this gas station. Oh no, we went to, I think it was Wendy's, and we had packed up all the dog food and everything. We brought our dogs with us to New York, and I packed up all the dog food, and we couldn't get to it in the car. And so we're like, well, the dogs have to eat. So the dogs liked it. I mean, we usually give our dogs like organic food, but we went to Wendy's and we got them both a hamburger. It was like a half-pound thing or whatever, and they ate the hamburger very, very happily. They were like, we like road trips. We get to eat junk food. But normally we don't do that. And they have a kind of a stricter diet. last photo from this section. So we just went through 200 photos. And now we're going to go through them again. And we're going to crop. And your custom. 16 by 9, which is the standard monitor size. And normally I like to crop in 2 by 3, but I'm doing 16 by 9 because one, it will help with the animation a little bit, and two, that just seems to be the ratio where I can easily cut out the car and everything. And so then I enable the lens, and this is Lightroom 3, so it's really old, so it doesn't know about the Yai knockoff GoPro, but it's essentially the same lens as the Hero 3 Plus. So I'm just going to make sure, and you know what, I'm going to try the 2 by 3 again. No, it didn't work. I'm going to go on copy settings and copy the lens correction and the crop. And then I unselected copying the color and other settings. So then this is going to go much faster. And then the New York project, it's going to be similar to Project Newfoundland, where it is going to be more narrative. Each episode is going to cover a couple of topics. Project Newfoundland is doing pretty good view-wise. I mean, most people wouldn't say the views are good, but it's better than the Flotations Mark III, which get an average of like 20 views. But Project Newfoundland, it gets like 200 to 100 views. But for some reason, the third episode is lower. It's at like 20 views. And then the Sleeping Spring series, those ones did okay. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'll be right back. I have to go get some water. And yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And it's time to get back to work. I think I'll be streaming for about 40 more minutes before I have to go. I have to get comfortable and remember what I was doing. I think I already set this photo, but yeah. And then these are just, they're already edited, we just went through and edited them all. And then it turned out I'm not going to write that final project to have that VR distortion creator site slash thing. It's just be too much, be too extra, and I don't think the teacher would grade it well. So instead I'm just doing a video encoder, a graphical front end for FFmpeg. And these ones are going to take a little longer to crop than normal than the other ones. Because the other ones, it was just kind of the center I needed, the center of the photo. But with these ones, the focal point is in slightly different places. I'm actually getting a little bit tired. My sleep schedule has been messed up a little bit. Not because of streaming, but because of other things. If I'm not streaming, I'm usually just lying in bed trying to sleep. So I figured I might as well stream late at night. And then wait until I'm like super tired to try to go to sleep. A couple of weeks ago, I finally got it back, my sleep schedule back to what I wanted, which was wake up early, go work outside, and then essentially go to bed kind of later in the night, around like 11 or 12. But now it's just blown up. Like I go to bed at like 2 or 3, which is not good. And then I wake up at like 10 or 11, which is fine for programming and everything, but there's still a lot of gardening I have to do. So the gardening has been slow this week. And the good news, I don't think I told you guys this, but I was streaming a couple of times and I was complaining about the weed whacker dying. So the fancy weed whacker that I got, slightly more expensive. It was like $250, which is cheap for a weed whacker. Still doesn't work. And it's not that I've given up on it. It's just I went to an older weed whacker we had that had died previously, and I tried starting it, and it worked that one day, and then the next day it didn't work. But I finally got it back to starting reliably and staying on and everything. So it was a refurbished one that's working now. So that's it's just kind of funny, because the one we bought brand new, that was like medium quality, doesn't work. So it worked for about a year for dying, but this older one is working out better. But like I use the weed whacker like for everything. Like I use it maybe 5 or 6 hours a day. So they're going to work. On this one's photo, this guy right here, he saw the camera, and he's not doing it now, but he started, dancing in front of the camera, and I was like, because, it's taking photos, not video, so he's just wasting his time. Look at how close these guys are parked. Crazy. And this just goes through and removes the fisheye. Go through, change where that one's cropped, and this one as well. Do. On the view of a bridge while being on the bridge. And the good news about not having to write that VR program for the classes. Like, I'd have to write it for Windows. And what I really need it to run on is Linux. Because, like, the Linux boxes, I can have them run for a week, I can have them run for a month. But, like, with Windows, I do the live stream. I only have one machine that runs Windows. So I do the live stream, I do the video editing and everything on it. So if it would have to do like a VR video, which would take like a couple of days just to render, that doesn't work. And here we are again. Yeah, in Pennsylvania. And we're almost done. This section of Pennsylvania, they said like there was a gas station and it was only like a mile off the freeway. It was a straight up lie. We got to the gas station, they were talking about, and it was closed. So I was like, what? So then we continued on driving. We drove like for 20 minutes. You know, not on the route. Just, and that's how we got here. And this is Costco. We found a parking lot. And we wish we found the Costco before we got gas, but we got the gas somewhere else, and then we found the Costco, so we didn't get the Costco price. Alright. Accidentally got rid of the wrong thing, and I did it before, and it will take me a while to get it back. Here we go. There, we got it back. So we just went through 200 photographs. They were all edited and cropped, and then the lens distortion was fixed. So yeah, so that's all I had planned for today. It was a kind of regular length stream. It was 2 hours. So I want to thank everyone for coming by. The next time I'm streaming live is going to be Monday. We'll see how Monday goes. It will probably be late in the day, around between 8 and 10 p.m. So it's going to be a more late night stream. And then over the weekend I'll be doing creative marathons, reruns, and then also a video game rerun. Probably something like Rise of the Tomb Raider or Heavy Rain. I'm not sure. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys Monday. Bye bye.